Hello, I hope all is well. Things have been chaotic. Not, you know what? It hasn't even been chaotic in my life. Um, Everything's been fine and calm. I just feel like once I jump onto the internet, then I feel like my life is chaotic, but I think I'm just feeling into the energy of other people's videos too much. Um, yeah, yeah. So I've been struggling a bit with sitting in more silence with God. I've been fasting from, being on YouTube, just, watching random videos and whatnot. Personally, so as we all have noticed, because this is like a topic that's being talked about a lot, which is how time feels very sped up. Which it does. Time does feel like it's going really fast. But I think it's mainly because we're not allowing ourselves to stop and sit in silence with God. It's just so weird because when I step back from the internet, I get out of the internet, like I pull myself out, like, all right, I need to stop. I'm consuming way too much. Let me sit with God. I try to practice to sit more in silence throughout my day because I feel myself getting pulled into the distraction and the chaos. And I just notice how I'm okay. Everything's okay. I'm calm. I feel safe. I am safe. I'm good. And there's no worries. When I jump into the internet, I feel like I'm being pulled. Like I'm just like running into a bunch of speeding cars, and I don't know if it's just the weirdest thing. It just feels like the internet feels like a whole nother world. And the internet consumes a lot of our time. That's how I feel. And I was just having these visions, like when I sit alone with God, I'll like vision like at some point people just living their lives, looking at their phones just nonstop. I literally had that vision of someone just going through life, just looking at their phone, you know, like they're just living in their phone. And like when you pull yourself out of the distraction, you start to see how really distracting everything is, and how almost as if you feel like you don't have time for yourself or a break to yourself, and how much the internet really influences our life choices. And that's not how it's supposed to be. We all have our own personal lives, personal journeys between, you and God. Everything in your life is between you and God. We shouldn't allow other people to influence the way we think or feel or what we should do. It's just, now that I think about it, it's just so weird how we're living. It's not normal by any means. I don't think there's anything wrong with, being on the internet, but if you're just spending all of your time consuming too much, you're almost like not there. It's like you've been taken. I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it, but that's just how I've been feeling lately. You know, being with God more, sitting in more silence throughout my day, taking breaks from the internet, catching myself when I'm being too consumed and distracted and not spending too much time with God, or if I feel like I'm being pulled away from God or Jesus, I I turn off my phone, I turn everything off, and I take breaks. And when I sit with God, I start to see like what's happening. Like God shows me more and more like how I need to be in silence with him more. And I feel like it's at the point where, for me personally, I feel like I shouldn't even have a phone. It's just so distracting, and it's so easy to get pulled into the distraction. I'm going to continue my prolonged fast from fasting from the internet or any, TV, all the distractions. I find myself now not wanting to watch TV as much and being able to jump off apps when I'm on it too much. But it's kind of scary how amplified the addictions are getting. Our addictions, at least mine. I would say a bad addiction of mine is, wanting to be constantly entertained, wanting to entertain my mind so much. And yeah, I just feel like for me, if I'm on my phone too much, I feel like time is going by fast because I'm in my head too much. There's so many thoughts going. It could be so many reasons. I don't know, but for me, that's just how I feel. But yeah, if this resonates, if you feel off, after you watch something, which I notice myself too, like if I'm consuming too much of something, I start to either feel like paranoid or worried or anxious, and it's just like, not to say that things that are happening out there cannot happen to me, but it's like, that's not happening to you. It's just, I don't know, it's not good to be too involved in other people's lives. I don't think the internet is bad per se, but too much of it, it's like it's taking all of you, I feel. And right now, the way things are going, it's just becoming crazier. I mean, look how most people are behaving on the internet. Everything feels like it's an act. It looks like everyone's just like, everyone's just being something that they're not. It's just too much acting going on. Nothing feels real anymore at all. That's what I mean, I've noticed that for a while now, but now it's like I cannot unsee it. I can't take anything serious. Nothing feels the same anymore. Not in a good way. And I'm not there's good in the world. There's beautiful things in the world, so doesn't have to be all down. It's just I just want to point out how kind of scary this is, like just how we're just being consumed by distractions. And right now it feels so easy to get sucked in unless you have the awareness and you have you have a connection with God. I don't want to say great connection. All connections with God is the same. I don't know why I said that. Unless you have a connection with God, a relationship with God, Jesus by your side, faith, you can see what's happening, and you won't let it get you. You won't. But you're gonna have to keep praying, and you're gonna really have to build that connection with God to not let all the distractions get to you, because it's in every area in life. You can get pulled in any area unless you have the awareness and you have, God with you. God's first. Forever and always, God is first. God first. Jesus. Prayer. Always pray everywhere you go. Pray to have your addictions released. Pray for God to come into your life and help you with whatever you're struggling with. It's not easy out here, but when you have God with you, trust me, you're safe and protected. God's got you. So just keep fighting for God. And yeah, just hold on, It gets scary at certain moments, but it's so worth it. You come out stronger. God makes you stronger and stronger and stronger. We're built for this. We're aspects of God. Come on. But yeah. Everything feels, right now it's calmed down for me, but for the last couple of days everything's been chaotic, and I'm just looking, like, whatever I'm seeing, like whether it's on TV or YouTube, I'm just looking at everyone and I'm like, holy shit, like, what's going on? You can just see, like, how heavy it is out here. Just the distractions, like, it's just on another level, lots of greed. All the sins are being played out, but definitely a lot of greed and pride. So we got to pray for those who are operating in that too. Let's pray for ourselves. We may be operating in that and we don't even know it. Just like how people who are in power who may be doing evil things, they're not really aware that what they're doing is evil. I feel personally, I could be wrong, but for the most part, I always go back to how we weren't born this way. We need to pray for every single one, everyone. But pray and connect with God if you haven't already. Connect with God and just ask God to come in. And God's right there. Jesus is God. Jesus and God are always with you no matter what. But it's time to build that relationship and finally listen to our God. Right? But stay safe and take care, and God bless.